America. Good people, terrible citizens, evil government. This is 2025. That's where we're at. Sad, sad, sad. Beyond sadness, we elected a terrible man to be president who's creating all sorts of tragic consequences to other people, telling all these different people in different departments that we don't need you anymore. Them, their wives or husbands, their children, cold. We are cold, cold-blooded, mean people. I didn't know. I voted for him, but I didn't think he'd do this. So of course you knew he'd do this. He said it all the way through. We're trying to ruin this country by electing the worst person possible, who's torching all the goodness here, who is hating on thousands and thousands of good people that are better than him. Because he says they're evil in the FBI or Department of Justice or food agencies, the largest food distributor in the world. Cold, heinous. This will go down in history as one of the worst. This will be one of the worst times in American history because of what we did and what we're doing right now, or what we're not doing, just standing back. The Republicans have a lot to answer for, not just for the president, the Congress, who's just doing this. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Tax cuts for the rich is coming, just like last time. Benefit cuts for the poor and working people are coming. Who's in charge of that? The richest person in the world. What does this have to do with conservatism or Christianity? What does that have to do with Jesus? Nothing. Zero. The opposite. The opposite of love. The opposite of sell all your things and give the money to the poor. No, no, no. That's for losers. Give me more billions of dollars. You shouldn't preach Jesus if you love money. They don't connect. And you shouldn't act like they do. Well, I'll forgive that because I like this. A lot of people didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman. No, we weren't going to vote for a woman. Misogynist. Who's the worst people through history? It's men. The madness of men, and the greed, and the avarice, and the violence. No, we don't want a woman. Don't want a woman of color. Don't want a woman of color. Racism, which helped found this country. Black children could not swim in the pool. In this town, in the 60s, I was alive. I was a kid. Oh, racism is still here, all over. What a hateful heart that is. Don't tell me about God. If God exists, God made everything and everybody. And then you're trying to tell us, yeah, but these people are bad. These people are evil. This color is bad. This religion is bad. But not us. We're great. Yeah. Sad, sad, sad. If you want to be a good American, why don't you read a little bit about our history? Here's a good book. It's kind of thick. It's a good read. This is before America. This is the 1500s and the 1600s. Basically, like this book. This is a good book. Another one. They were heavy. 1500s, 1600s, the British and French colonies, and all the kings and queens and church and taking of land and murders and massacres, and the Native Americans were the victims, and sometimes they were the victimizers, or they were the criminals. But yeah, eventually they lost all their land, and more massacres were happening. The British and the French upon the Native Americans. That's this land's history. I'm not going to say that's America's history. It's not America's history. That was the British and the French, mainly. And I'm not hating on the British or the French. This is hundreds of years ago. I'm not going to see a British guy and go, hey, you're guilty because of what some of your people did hundreds of years ago. I'm not like that, but I taught history. Some of you Republican legislators are like, hey, we can't talk about that. Can't talk about slavery like it was a bad thing. You're just lying. You're just lying about history. You deny history. You lie about history. That's a good book. Joseph Ellis, he's written a lot of stuff. Did he get the Pulitzer for Founding Brothers? But I like this one. It's more like 300 pages. But Washington's very interesting. Good guy, noble in many respects, kind of greedy. He liked land. After the French and Indian War, the British gave him 30,000 acres. 30,000 acres. And he liked. One reason he might have wanted to go west is because that's where some of his land was and some other land that he liked. He liked land. He didn't really want to be president. He wanted to go back to Mount Vernon and be a farmer and, tell his slaves and workers, hey, plant this over here, plant that over there, let's build the chimney here on this new place, new house. He enjoyed that a lot. He became president because everybody told him, hey, look, this is all going to fall apart. We need only one person we agree on, and that's you. So he served for 2 terms, went home, and died not that long afterwards. Remember how he died? He went out riding, I believe. It was cold, it was sleeting. He probably shouldn't have gone, but he wanted to check on some things at Mount Vernon. And he came back and he had pneumonia. And I believe back then what happened with him was they bled him. Oh, he's sick. Let's take blood. What? But this is, I don't know, what is that, 1805 or something? 1804. I forget when he died. I like American history. The real stuff. We're ruining America. You put Trump in charge, he doesn't care about anybody. You know that. What's wrong with you people? That's a good book. Pulitzer Prize winner. And it's hard to understand, yeah. For me too. I'm not the smartest guy. The smartest people, I think, are like scientists and doctors. But I know how to read. You know how to read. You can learn a little bit more about this. I think people might like this a little better because it's she writes more entertaining. Some historians might say, oh, that's historical fiction. You can't really know what Adams was thinking. You can know a certain amount. Anyway, that may be my favorite. It's only one by a woman, Catherine Drinker Bowen. This is by a lawyer who said he was in the Supreme Court arguing a case, and the other guy said some stuff, and he was like, is that right? Like he didn't know enough about the Constitution. So he studied, and then he wrote a book. That's kind of cool. That's a good book. McCullough, I forget what he won the Pulitzer for. Uh, John Adams? Oh, twice. Truman and John Adams. And I tried John Adams. I don't know why I didn't get into it, but that's a good book. This is supposed to be highly regarded. I'm into the Constitution, how it was written, when it was written, what was really. And these originalists, so-called originalists in the Supreme Court, conservatives, most of the founding fathers would say, "Hey, man, this is 250 years ago. Grow up and do your own. Don't look at us, and you can't figure out what we were thinking. This is 250 years ago." And when we passed the Constitution, there was slavery everywhere. Original intent. This is a Pulitzer Prize winner by this same guy, Jack Rakove. Jack Rakove. I think I've read this and read a little of that. Anyway, if you love America, learn a little bit about America. The Constitution, the Founding Fathers talked about self-interest a lot. These are wise people, many slave owners, and many with money, most of them with money. But they were also understanding that they were creating a nation together, which hadn't really been done like this, democratically. No monarchy, no nobility. That's a difference. But self-interest, they understood people are going to want to take advantage of things for themselves. I want more. I want more. So they tried to set up the government to have three separate areas: executive, judicial, and legislative, checks and balances, and all sorts of different ways to just try to keep people from being too self-interested, greedy. The word mammon, avarice, loving money. You elected a president that loves money and property. Super self-interested. And now what's happening with the Supreme Court that said the president can do anything he wants? He's above the law, which is unconstitutional. The Republicans voted for that. And you have a Republican Senate and Congress just sitting back, watching all this terror happen. Republicans have a lot of bad karma that you're creating. America's being destroyed spiritually, morally. Economically, we've been falling down since Reagan's tax cuts for the rich, called trickle down, 1980s. The rich have gotten a lot richer. The working people have stayed here. So the top 10% own over half of our net worth, and it's getting worse. And the richest man in the world is in charge of cutting the programs for the poor. How evil is this? How low can we go, America? Good people, terrible citizens, and now an evil government. Jesus Christ. Godspeed, America. We move toward the light of loving each other more than we love money, and loving this planet instead of saying, oh, global warming, that doesn't even exist. Let's keep burning. And when the drought and the fires and the heat and the superstorms come, we'll just say, it's God's will. Yeah, it's God's will. Because we did the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Let's fight for the good. We have to fight for the good. Me and you. America is good people. I believe that.